I'm trying to get 100 platinums by the end of the year, and after completing Mafia the Definitive Edition, today we tackle Mafia 2. Remember, if you do enjoy this type of content and you want to see more of it, please do like and subscribe. Put down below in the comments some suggestions for games I should be trying to platinum in 2025. There are a total of 48 trophies to unlock to get the platinum, and I can honestly say I enjoyed every single one of these trophies except for one. One collectible trophy nearly drove me to insanity, but we'll talk about that more later on in the video. This is not an overly difficult platinum, so we'll complete this in two sections. First is a blind playthrough on hard mode, as again you need to complete this for the platinum trophy, but luckily it's not as hard as Mafia, so we'll be doing that and picking up whatever trophies we can along the way, and then once the story is out of the way, we can then clean up any trophies we might have missed using chapter select and get whatever collectibles are needed to be picked up. Mafia 2 is yet again a kind of flashback story like the first one, where your main character is sort of just reminiscing on past adventures. We play as Vito Scaletta, and the game is set within the city of Empire Bay in the 1940s, which is just a little bit after the Mafia timeline. Vito is also a war veteran, which is why the game's intro picks up in the war. As a matter of fact, the entirety of this massive 10-minute long chapter is just us doing combat tutorials in World War II. But it all ends when some absolute Don just strolls up and sweet talks us all, making the war literally just ceasefire, or at least where we were for the first trophy to pop.
Why? Because he told him to.
So Vito is back home in Empire City, and this is when all the Mafia stuff really begins to kick off for our boy. His buddy Joe has kind of got one foot in the Mafia. He proves this by getting Vito put back on the injured and ineligible list, so Vito no longer has to go back to war once he's recovered.
It appears that your injury is much more serious than it first appeared, and the doctors say you can't fight no more.
Vito decides to take up Joe's offer once he realizes that staying at his mum's place is not exactly going to cut it for him. As he's leaving his mum's apartment on the way out, he notices his sister down the street is getting into a heated altercation with a man, so we of course had to fight him, and this is where the game shows us the wondrous fist fighting mechanic, showing me the basics of hand-to-hand combat. Once I knocked the dude out, I also got the trophy for saving our little sister in the process. The story then continues, and Joe took us to a few side character locations who have various different uses, like the garage guy who can upgrade your car, Giuseppe the thief who gives you lockpicks, and finally Mike Brewski who likes to collect cars from us. We bring the car, he scraps them and gives us good money in return. He also gives us our first job of the day, which is to go and steal a car that he wanted specifically. A little bit of mass murder was also in the description. However, after securing the car and driving it back, we get the trophy and have a nice stack of cash along with the next trophy.
Hey, mission accomplished. How'd it go?
We then drive back to take a nap at Joe's place, and it's here we pick up our next trophy collector's item for finding our first collectible of the game. And that was that for Chapter 2. Chapter 3 began, and we went out to find actual legal work like our mama asked us to. So you go to your dad's old boss for a job, and all they have to offer is some meager work lugging crates from a truck, which Vito obviously wasn't about and quit the job. However, on the way out, he got offered an alternative gig just for dropping Joe's name, which was to rough up dock workers for their money. Most of them gave it to us, however, one strong guy refused, and we then got to scrap with him. I won, of course, got his money, and then gave it to the boss. We also got a little cut for our troubles, and the trophy, he who pays the barber.
Tell her you got yourself a job as my new assistant.
Yeah, will do. I'll see you later.
And Vito, I almost forgot. Joe called. He wants you should meet him at Freddy's.
Chapter 3, however, was longer than the previous ones, and we got another job to break into this government building and steal some petrol tokens from a safe lockbox. This job wasn't too bad actually, since there were only like 3 guards, but after I opened the safe securely and grabbed the goods, the alarm goes off and we have to escape the police and get back to Henry. When we get back to Henry, he tells us that the coupons we stole run out at midnight. So he gets us to deliver these coupons to a bunch of different gas stations around the city before midnight, because apparently after that it's too late. I also barely got this, by the way, since it was kind of a tight time limit, but upon finishing it, I also did get a trophy. Finally, that was it for the chapter, and after going to sleep, we get the next chapter trophy, the price of oil. Chapter 4 was not multiple jobs, it was just one singular job, and that is a store robbery gone wrong, which caused mass chaos and lots of fun for us, but not so much for the police. We were knocking over a jewelry store when, long story short, the job goes wrong and we have to get out of there. While trying to escape from the rooftops, we must have been doing a lot of damage as we get the trophy for defeating 50 enemies, the Enforcer. And the final part was to escape in a car, and once I did, the mission was over, and I had a new objective of sleeping to advance the game, so here is that, Chapter 4 trophy, the night shift. Upon beginning Chapter 5 and before any main story actions, there was a side mission that kinda just popped up next to Joe's apartment, and it pretty much had us beat some guy up who totally crashed into the back of this girl's car and was just trying to pretend like it wasn't his fault. I ended up beating him senseless, both because he deserved it, but also, I mean, come on now, you gotta show off in front of the ladies, you know what I'm saying? This chapter's main mission was us chasing after some evil dudes that was entirely just us killing a bunch of people until the building kinda maybe burned down. Henry gets shot and we had to escape, heading all the way to an illegal doctor to get him patched up before we go back home and end the chapter. We wake up the next day and get pulled over by the police. The gas attendant has ratted me out for selling those coupons, and because we're not a rat, we get thrown in jail, and that is why the next chapter was all in the jail for Vito's 10-year prison sentence, or however long it ended up being. The developers managed to condense all of that 10-year jail cycle to 20 minutes of a chapter just consisting of straight up fist fighting. And all of the fights trained us for the finale against the final prison boss, who just so happens to be the Irish fella we got locked up when we were robbing the jewelry store, who we beat and then executed with a knife to the throat. So yeah, that was our prison sentence done.
Shut the fuck up.
It's now 1951 and we are out of prison, and things look a little different from when we went inside. We are back in Empire City to just pick right up with Mafia business. Chapter 7 surprisingly had us doing almost zero Mafia activity. Almost. Instead, Joe got me an apartment, we just kind of partied and everyone got wasted. On our way home, we then need to make a little pit stop and drop something off. Once that's done, as the designated driver, we drop Joe and Eddie off and head to our new apartment. We finally finished Chapter 7 and got its associated trophy.
Come on. I'll call you tomorrow, Vito. Good night.
Chapter 8 then had us trying to make a buck or two from selling cig to the boys, but let's be honest, $2 a pop, it's gonna take a while. Anyway, after Danny Zuko turns up and mollies the truck, we end up chasing them down to show them who runs these streets, which involved us shooting a ton of people, causing mass crime to get our money back to pay Eddie, and by doing that, we take an antique car. I then had to return the money made from that car sale to Eddie at the bar, and that was it for Chapter 8, with its trophy popping right here.
So?
Chapter 9 then had me sneaking into an enemy meat processing plant through the sewers to save 3 of our guys from being interrogated and giving up family secrets. There was a lot of combat, but then after making it out, I had to go back to the Mafia's bar and talk to Eddie, who said I stink and forced me to go and buy a suit, so I did.
Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh Jesus Christ. Was that you?
And this is where Vito finally gets inducted into the family, joining the Mafia for real. This time, no going back now, or he'll probably end up like good old Tommy.
Gentlemen, stay away from the dope. No dope. It's our policy. You can make plenty of money.
After years of doing everybody else's dirty work, I was willing to risk anything to finally be somebody.
Chapter 10 had a little bit of a Hitman feel to it. It had us infiltrating some hotel where an opposing mafia was having a massive meeting with all of the leaders, and we managed to plant a bomb under the conference table and blew it up while they were having that meeting. Almost everyone died and there were still goons everywhere, so we had to fight our way through that before making it to the parking garage. Here we managed to pick up the trophy hairdresser for getting 5 headshots in quick succession. When we get to the parking garage, Joe's little protege is lying there after getting ran through by the mob boss as he's getting away. So a car chase ensues. Somehow, however, we did catch up to him and Joe put some rounds into the Don. The rest of the chapter was much more chill. Here we get the trophy Get Rich or Die Flying for having all 4 wheels off the ground at once. And I had to crush a car to hide evidence of what Joe did while under the influence, which also gives us the trophy. I then slept to end the chapter and got the trophy checking out. Chapter 11 then had us saving Leo, who had a hit out on him. You remember Leo, he's the one that showed us all them fancy fighting moves back in prison. There was also a chapter specific trophy here from saving him without being caught. Once we are out of there and make our getaway, we take Leo to the train station and he gives us his car to keep, which will come in handy later for some of the trophies that we've got to get. And giving us the trophy Wake Up Call.
Okay, Vito. Now get me over to the train station if you wouldn't mind. This town's been good to me, but now it's time to say goodbye.
After that, though, a bunch of Irishmen burned down Vito's home in revenge for what happened in prison. I escaped in my undies, so that's also public embarrassment, which is why we then killed them all at the crappy Irish pub, and I got the trophy for doing that, hilariously called The End of the Rainbow. Also, we got another chapter trophy for when this chapter ended.
Fuck, this is creepy.
Chapter 12 has us working with Henry, who's now part of our crew, even if he did fail to take out Leo. This involves lending money from some shady dude who gives us until the end of the week to give it back. But with the plan Henry has set up, it should be easy peasy. We take the money to the pickup location, but we are ambushed by police. Once we escape, it's off to flip the product and make a profit. We then get the trophy Chase the Dragon.
We did it! We hit the jackpot!
Chapter 13 then has us find our boy Henry stabbed to death in the park by the Chinese, and we then go and get revenge on the Chinese Mafia or Yakuza, whatever they're called. The rest of the chapter just had us fighting our way through a restaurant come opium den, and finally take out the most cliche Yakuza boss name ever, Mr. Wong. Before fighting our way through the police yet again, the trophy popped.
But I'm done for today. I need a drink. Call you in the morning. We'll figure this shit out.
All right.
Okay, I'll see you later. And Vito, be careful.
Chapter 14, this is the second to last one before doing anything in it. We get the trophy pop for us taking part in the cutscene that happened at the end of the previous game's epilogue. Then we've got to deal with the after effects of that, which was escaping the feds, which kinda sucked.
Okay, I'll see you later.
So in Chapter 14, Vito finally takes out the man who killed his father, who happened to be his old boss and a member of his current family. And I'm not kidding when I say that this is the hardest combat section in the game, mostly because they give Derek an infinite amount of Molotovs and there are a ton of goons. It's just a horrible combination. But with a little bit of patience, we took him down, and after it, it gave us the trophy out for justice.
It was good to finally know the truth, though. Derek's death also helped me resolve another problem.
I also had to make some money so we didn't get screwed over by the loan shark, and to make the remaining funds I just scrapped cars over and over. This meant we also got the trophy, proper scrapper, for turning in 5 cars to Mike Brewski.
Coffee right now. It's a tasteful accompaniment to the tasteful music we play here at this radio station. Get your perk.
Me and Joe then found ourselves in a little bit of a pickle before the end of the chapter, getting caught up in more fighting, but we escaped, and then the chapter needed to end for another trophy. This is the final chapter of the story, but I'm kind of upset because the last 2 chapters sort of sucked in my opinion, and this game's ending is also kind of bad, or at least, let's say, just a lackluster. For one, I think the story starts to go in one direction with you avenging your father to like a generic final boss mission in what feels like out of nowhere randomly. It feels like they had to meet a deadline or limit the amount of chapters, and it feels as though between chapter 14 and 15, we've missed 2 or 3 whole chapters that just aren't there. So we end up with another lame final boss fight in a cool place like the previous game. I mean, if we're being honest, Mafia 1 and Mafia 2 have near identical endings, literally formatted the exact same, so it doesn't really show any ingenuity. And I also kept dying, which just made the ending a little bit worse. Although, to be fair, the final cutscene of the game I did not see coming. But overall, the final chapter has us chase down this Mafia leader who wanted to kill us, and we kill him instead, which was then literally it. I got 3 trophies from that chapter ending, beating the game, and beating the game on hard.
Where they taking Joe?
Sorry, kid. Joe wasn't part of our deal.
With the story complete, we have 32 out of the 48 trophies needed, and seeing as I missed a few of the mission-specific ones, as well as picking up only a handful of collectibles, we are going to run some missions back. Unfortunately, unlike Mafia, once the story is complete, there is no true free roam. For a game that gives off the allure of an open-world game, the fact that you have to be on a mission, do any sort of roaming, and the fact that the original had a free roam gets me a little frustrated. First thing I was going to do was get the collectibles. There are 2 collectibles in the game. One I completely forgot was in the original, and that was the Playboy magazines.
Jesus Christ.
Now I know why there was a warning at the start of the game. While getting these in the chapter select, there are 1 or 2 chapter specific trophies I missed, one of them being a real gentleman, which is to help the lady fix a car. You get this by waiting near a couple arguing on the way to Joe's after beating up that fella for your sister and fixing the lady's car when her husband ditches her.
Thank you very much, handsome.
Don't mention.
And the professional. This trophy was for getting stamps without raising the alarm. In my first playthrough, I let the alarm go off and just blasted my way through the cops. To do this, you need to take out all of the guards and then go into the basement and turn the alarm off before opening the safe. While getting the next set of Playboy mags in Missions 4, I seen on a forum that this is the perfect place for our next trophy, Hard to Kill. Hard to Kill is for surviving 10 minutes while the police want to shoot you. The easiest way to do this is in Mission 4 after the robbery and you're in the alley, come out to get the police's attention and then run to the other end of the alley and hide. The police will hit an invisible wall and will not go any further than that. You just put your controller down and wait and you get the trophy. When we reach chapter 11 to replay that again, it's here that we can make a dent in most of the trophies that are left. One, because there is an element of free roam, and two, you have a boatload of money. This is the mission where you also get Leo's car, which is what we'll need for the trophy pedal to the metal. First thing we need to do is get the trophy fine-tuned, but leveling up the car once. Then for leveling up the car fully, we get dream handling. We then take the car onto the road, and once you reach 125 miles per hour, we get the trophy pedal to the metal. Now, unlike Mike Brewski, who will take any vehicle you give him, Derek, on the other hand, likes the expensive type of vehicle. The best way to do this trophy is to go all the way to the observatory, as there is always an expensive car there, and drive them all the way back to the other side of the map to the docks and hand them in. Do this 5 times and you'll get the trophy, the Exporter. With all that money earned, I think it's time to treat yourself to something nice, getting this trophy sharp suited for buying a luxury suit.
This trench coat looks good with clothes or without them.
After that, it's time to do a little crime in that suit and get away with it. There is a trophy for holding up 5 different stores in under 5 minutes for the trophy Stuck Up. There are restaurants, gas stations, clothing shops and gun stores that all can be robbed. The best thing to do is just get a fast car and pick some that are all bunched together. While completing this, we get the trophy Knucklehead for defeating 30 people with melee, and that's just having fist fights with them. And once we finish robbing all 5 stores, we get the trophy Stuck Up. Also, the same as the original Mafia, we get a trophy for driving 30 different vehicles. But in this game, there is a time skip, so make sure you drive as many cars as you can before the time skip. And then by the end of the game, there should be about 5 or 6 cars that you've not driven. And for some reason, whether it's the definitive edition or not, if you go into the garage, there's about 4 or 5 of them that count towards this. And you should then only be left with 1 or 2. One of the last miscellaneous trophies left to do is cruise control, and that's for driving above 30 miles an hour for 5 minutes. Best way to do this is to go to one end of the expressway and using your speed limiter, or staying at around 40 miles an hour by tapping the accelerator, and by the time you get to the end of the expressway, that trophy will pop. There are 189 posters scattered throughout the map, so with that we can just get one of our last trophies, being 1 Kerfalona, and the best way to do this is to make sure that you drive the same car throughout the whole of the game, and you'll get anywhere from 20 to 30 miles on it. Then you can use that car to find the wanted posters, and that should get you over the 50 miles total. So while we were doing that and got that trophy out of the way, it just leaves the wanted posters and the Playboy mags. So we start up rounding up the posters for the trophy. But after around what I think is about 70 to 80 of them collected, it crashed while saving, causing the only save I have to be corrupted, and I could not load my previous save, meaning I had to complete the story all over again, every chapter, every single chapter again. If there's a lesson here, boys and girls, it's to always make sure that your save is being uploaded to the cloud. I seriously considered giving up and throwing this on the large pile of games I haven't managed to platinum. But the fact is, this happened at nearly 1 AM at the time that it crashed, and I was that annoyed I was going to make sure that it didn't beat me. Luckily, starting over meant I could pick up all the Playboy mags in one go, getting me the trophy Ladies Man after replaying the game. And then it was just those 189 wanted posters all over again. I made sure this time no corrupted save was beating me, so after I collected 20, I uploaded my save to the cloud. Did that add about an hour to the completion? Yes. Would you do it again to make sure that you don't have to replay the game again? Yes. And once that was collected, we got the final trophy along with the platinum. Mafia 2 does have the weaker story, but it's still a good story nonetheless. The game itself is great, and it adds on to what the previous games did, sort of stealing cars. Now you need a lockpick, police chasing you down for minor infractions, and the driving is a hell of a lot easier. But I think not having a free roam hinders the rest of the features, such as dropping cars off to sell, buying guns, as you end up picking them up from dead bodies and keeping them, leaving you no need to go to the store to see what they've got, as well as the ability to upgrade cars. If I didn't need to get the trophy for upgrading them, I probably wouldn't even know it was a feature. If you haven't already played this classic though, please make sure you do, as you will not be sorry. If you have any suggestions for videos coming up this year, please do not forget to drop them in the comments below. And until next time, peace.